Today we're going to be talking about the 5-step process that we need in order to not only lose weight, improve our confidence, improve our lifestyle, but most importantly, maintain it as well. And it all starts off with having realistic expectations. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make when it comes to losing weight and getting into shape is they simply have unrealistic expectations. They want to lose weight yesterday. And when they don't see 3, 4, 5 pounds coming off the scales each and every week, they get absolutely distraught. They feel what they're doing is not working and they totally give up. So the most important thing we need to remember is it's going to take a little bit of time, but that's okay. We didn't wake up one day overweight, out of shape, unhealthy. It's been an accumulation of years and years and years of poor lifestyle choices. So we need to understand it's going to take a little bit of time. Now, realistically, for most people, we're going to be looking at around £0.5 pound to £2 per week on average. Some weeks might be a little bit more. Some weeks we might not lose any weight at all, but that's okay because when we're tracking our progress using the scales, we're not just tracking body fat, we're tracking water, muscle, food in the system. That's why we've got to give it a little bit of leeway. And as well as having those realistic expectations, we've got to remember that the scales aren't the only factor in success. We also need to be taking other metrics of progress, measurements, how our clothes feel, progress photos, the quality of food choices we're making, the amount of stress we're coping with, if we're moving more on a regular basis, if we're sleeping better, if we're having better interactions with our friends, our family, our children, and our partners. So firstly, have a clear, concise goal that's realistic. So £0.5 pound to £2 per week. And then figure out your big overarching weight loss goal you want to achieve, and then work back from that. So for example, if you wanted to lose 20 pounds of weight, you're going to be looking at the very fastest around 10 weeks, and that's at £2 per week. But most people will be looking around the pound mark, so give yourself sufficient time in order to achieve your goals. Make sure it's realistic, like I mentioned, and don't set the expectations too high. Because if you set them too high, like I mentioned, you're going to get frustrated and you're going to ultimately throw the towel. The second thing we need to look at is having a reason to change. Now, most people in this day and age, we've become too soft. We keep taking the easy option. We give ourselves excuses not to do the things we know we need to do, even though we want to reach our goals. So what do I mean by being too soft? Well, ultimately, it's going to be like coming to a crossroads. You might have had a busy week in work, you might have an argument with your partner, the kids driving you up the wall, and you get to Friday and you're feeling really stressed, really overwhelmed, really tired, and the last thing you want to do is cook a nutritious meal or maybe go and do that workout or go and finish your steps. So you end up taking the easy option, which is ordering a takeout, cracking open a bottle of wine, and just having a bit of a chill night, knowing that that's going to be detrimental to achieving your goals. But in this situation, what we want to be doing is figuring out a way to take the more difficult path, the harder option. So instead of reaching for the bottle of wine, the takeaway, and having an overindulgent night, it's actually saying to yourself, do you know what? I made a commitment to go to the gym this evening. I plan to do it, so I'm going to follow through on what I said I was going to do and do it despite how I'm feeling, despite how stressed I am, despite how tired I am. You're then going to come home and cook that nutritious meal instead of ordering a takeout. And then you're going to have an early night, maybe read a book, a little bit of self-care, then wake up the next morning feeling absolutely amazing. And in order for you to be able to lean into that discomfort, you need a powerful reason to change. Otherwise, why would you take the path of discomfort? So ask yourself, like, where you are right now, how is it actually impacting you? How is it impacting your self-esteem, your confidence, your relationships? How is it impacting your energy on a day-to-day basis? And if you were to reach your goals, how much better would your life be? How much more memories would you be able to make with your family, your friends, your children, your partners? Would you be able to go for that promotion at work? Would you have more confidence in yourself? Would you be inspiring those around you? And make your reason so powerful that when the going gets tough, you keep moving forward. So what we've got then is our first two aspects of the blueprint to getting into shape. We've got a realistic goal with realistic expectations, and we've got a big reason to change. We then need to look at the 3 key drivers that are going to get you where you need to be. So firstly, it's eating in that calorie deficit, but it's important to have the right amount of calories. I see so many people making the mistake of going too low in their calories. When they go too low on their calories, what's happening is you're creating this big calorie deficit. When you create this big calorie deficit, there's a lot of stress, tiredness, overwhelm, hunger, and quite frankly, you're miserable, okay? It's not enjoyable, it's not consistent, and you end up slipping up. You have off days, you become complacent, and you end up just over-consuming calories, having a binge, feeling really guilty, and then starting again next week, and you get stuck in this cycle of restrict and binge. So instead, figure out exactly how many calories you need. Now, I recommend a 10% deficit. Most calorie calculators will tell you to take 500 calories off your maintenance, but I recommend going for 10%. It's always better to start a little bit high and bring it down if you need to. Now, with a smaller deficit, you're not going to feel as hungry, you're not going to feel as tired, it's going to be a lot more enjoyable, and you're going to be able to consistently stick to it better. Next up, we need to look at our step target, and this is going to be different for every individual. A lot of people say about this 10,000 steps a day, but it ultimately depends on where you are with things right now. If you've got quite an active lifestyle, an active job, then it's going to be easy for you to hit 10,000 steps. But if you're quite sedentary at the moment, you're working behind a desk all day, maybe you're restricted to the amount of movement you can do, then aiming for 10,000 steps might be too overwhelming. So the best way to figure out how many steps you should be doing is simply look at where you are right now and add 10% on top of that. So for example, let's say you're doing 5,000 steps on average, increase that to 5,500. If you can crack that for a week or so, then again, increase it again, and then slowly and gradually increase it, allowing you to build up confidence in improving your movement, build up fitness in your legs, and help you make it into a lifestyle change, rather than aiming for a high number and not being able to hit it. And then lastly, something that gets overlooked by a lot of people is taking time for yourself for some self-care, because this can really help minimize stress in your life. And one of the biggest drawbacks for a lot of people is they eat when they're stressed, they eat for comfort, they eat when they're feeling down. So if we can actually take a little bit of time out of our busy schedules to do something for ourselves, that's going to help keep stress at bay and reduce the chances of emotional eating. Now, if you follow this 5-step blueprint, I guarantee you'll start dropping body fat, it'll be a lot easier to do, and you'll end up being more consistent and allowing you to make it to a lifestyle change.